Hello and welcome to your full moon tarot forecast for the blue moon in Aquarius, August 2021. So if you're unfamiliar with what a blue moon means, it means that there are two full moons within a month, which in this case we're kind of fudging it a little bit because it's two full moons within a zodiac sign month rather than an actual calendar month. So basically in July we had an Aquarius full moon and it was in the early degrees of Aquarius, and then on August 22nd, the day this video is being released, we are having a second full moon in Aquarius in the 29th degree. So it's just a little extra special Aquarius energy, which is lovely because Aquarius is the innovator, it is the rule breaker, it is the community, we are all in this together energy. So we could all use a little more of that right now. So this is kind of bookending whatever has been going on for the past month. So you might have found that the first full moon in Aquarius has kind of brought up some stuff for you, lots of issues that you didn't know that you had, lots of boundaries that you need to put in place, lots of old habits that you thought you'd broken that you actually hadn't, that came back up to the surface. And the good news is that this Aquarius full moon is supposed to kind of close out that chapter if you've done the work. So if you felt like the past month has just been growth central, then congratulations, you are now getting your degree and you are graduating from that stage of your life. So with that in mind, we are going to dive into some cards today, but if you're watching this on August 22nd, I want to tell you that we will be having a live full moon question and answer tarot reading on my Instagram today. So at Michelle Shea is where you're gonna head over. If you're watching this before 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, which is 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 6 p.m. Central Standard Time, you can then participate in this live. Normally it's something that I have a secret little group on a little Zoom or other platform wherever we can do a video chat, and I have to send out the secret link to people after they've purchased tickets. And in this case, we're just gonna open it up to everyone and make it a donation-based participation. So you can donate whatever you want in my Instagram bio. I have 3 different options. You can do Venmo, you can do PayPal, or you can do the Instagram platform credit card payment to donate some money. Suggested donation is $15, but if you just donate $1, that still lets me know that you are listening, participating, and appreciating the content that I'm putting out there. And for this particular event, 10% of all the donations will be donated to the Women for Women Afghanistan Fund. So also a little bit of philanthropy. The great thing about those live events is when you listen in, a lot of times someone else will ask a question that may not seem like it's related to your situation, but the answer will have something for you. So show up, be open to whatever messages it has to hold for you, and if you appreciate those messages, please, please, please donate. It supports me, and again, this particular donation will also support the Afghanistan women. So we are going to dive into our cards for this particular video. If you're unfamiliar with these tarot videos, how they work is we start out with a reading for the collective, the general public, on YouTube and my Instagram, and that includes 4 oracle cards. We're going to start with the Total Betty Goddess deck, which is a deck of my creation with 90s icons as the goddesses. It's available for sale over at michellesheawalker.com, as well as the coloring guidebook to go along with it. And then we'll dive in for this particular reading with the Animal Spirit Oracle from the Wild Unknown. And again, that'll be 4 cards for anyone who wants to watch. If you feel like that reading resonates for you and you want to go deeper, we do a ton more tarot cards over on my Patreon, and it's for the highest level participants, so it's $22 to join the full-time fortune teller level. You get access to the extended videos for the full and new moon readings that I post online, and you also get access to the monthly full moon tarot events. So the thing that I'm doing on Instagram usually is just for those full-time fortune tellers on Patreon, and you get access to all of that for less than the price of an event ticket normally. So without further ado, we are going to dive into these cards, and we'll start again with my baby Total Betty Goddess deck. So we're going to shuffle up these cards and just set the intention that we're going to have a little divine feminine energy to reside over this Aquarius full moon, give us a little hint of what the energy is going to be about. And the thing I love about the Total Betty cards is It's giving you a little intro to the goddesses, but with familiar faces, so it gives you something to relate to if you're not familiar with those divine feminine figures. And sometimes you get a little more message from the actual modern counterpart than you would from the traditional goddess. So our total Betty goddess for the Aquarius blue moon is Gunlod, played by Janet Jackson in Poetic Justice. So Gunlod is the goddess of poetry, but the thing that I like to take from the goddess of poetry is it's a goddess of expression and expressing yourself in a beautiful way. So I feel like what's occurring, or the feeling that I'm getting from this card in regards to the Aquarius full moon, is we've gone through this journey of this bookend from Aquarius full moon to Aquarius full moon, and it's brought up a lot of stuff, it's healed a lot of stuff, it's brought feelings to the surface, and you might find that there are things that you want to express that just normal forms of talking aren't gonna do it for you. If you don't do poetry, that's okay. I personally love to express my overwhelming emotions through poetry because there's something about having to rhyme what I'm trying to say that makes my brain process things better. But if that's not your thing, or if you don't feel talented in that area, just finding an artistic expression of your emotions is gonna be really powerful under this full moon. So even if you don't consider yourself an artist, get out some magazines, cut out some pictures, do a little collage to just kind of commemorate what it is that you feel like this journey has been, whether it be from the full moon in Aquarius in July or from further back than that. There's something that needs to kind of feel like it's fully closed out the chapter, and the artistic expression of that is going to help you feel like you can kind of put it away, put it in a drawer, and have it be done, and it feels like it's a final ritual for the process. So just keep that in mind. And then we're gonna dive into our 3 cards from the Animal Spirit from the Wild Unknown. These cards are always very talkative. There are some decks that I feel like don't tell me a lot about what they're trying to say, and this is not one of them. I feel like the Animal Spirit is always telling me exactly what I need to hear about certain situations. And we are going to do a past, a present, and a future card. So the past card is going to be the recent past, so I'm going to say it's probably from the past Aquarius full moon to this Aquarius full moon. The present is what's going on during this full moon energy and the week that's following, and then the future is the immediate future. So within the next 2 to 4 weeks is what the energy is coming in with if we utilize our resources properly. So with that in mind, we have the past card of the dragon, the present card of the dragonfly, and the future card of the lion. So our past card coming in with the dragon is from a beautiful category in this deck that is just known as spirit. So we have earth, fire, water, air, and then a 5th category in this deck where animals are categorized as spirit, and they're usually the more mythical creatures. So the dragon is actually associated with the solar plexus chakra, which is the energy center that resides above your navel, and it deals with your ego, your sense of self-identity and self-confidence. So we're coming from this place since the last Aquarius full moon of really drudging up the things that make us feel who we are. I have a feeling that there's been a little bit of an identity crisis that might have been happening over the past couple weeks, and a little feeling of maybe some insecurities being turned over. So if you've been feeling like you're having old insecurities from your teenage years come up, or if you feel like you've been battling with these old issues and it's kind of making you second guess your ability to grow, know that that is what is supposed to be happening, and know that those things are being brought up to be healed. So what the dragon is here to tell us is that we have a strength within us that's beyond our imagination, that we have just started to awaken. So the dragon's kind of opening up its eyes and like contemplating coming out of the cave. It's kind of getting a little like sleepy, sluggish off its body, and preparing to go out and change the world and transform the way that we see things. And the dragon is how we see ourselves, how we perceive our own confidence, how we perceive ourselves and our place in the world. And if you feel like you haven't been fully claiming your power or your position on this planet, That is what has been turned over since the last Aquarius full moon. So the past 4 weeks has been about really getting rid of old insecurities, reevaluating your patterns and your habits that have been holding you back, and preparing yourself for that awakening. So you might not feel like you're, bursting forth from the cave and ready to breathe fire right this second, but it's starting, and you need to be aware of that because it's a very powerful energy and you want to be able to harness it. So to harness it, we're moving into the Dragonfly. Now, first of all, it's beautiful that we're going from a dragon to a dragonfly. We're going from this energy that feels really massive and maybe hard to contain and hard to manage into something that has a similar name that's very tiny and a little less noticeable and a little more magical. So the present with this Aquarius blue moon, we are coming into this place of having a little more looking at the illusions in our lives. So it's like we got a taste of our own power and maybe kind of ran away from it a little bit because it felt a little scary, a little too big. And this full moon is bringing up an ability to shift our perspective, to recognize that the things that we thought may not be completely accurate. We might not be seeing the situation for exactly what it is. So when you think of a dragonfly, it's got this beautiful, iridescentness to its wings, and it's like there and it's gone and it's flitting around, and it's almost like a little magician of the insect world. And so we're really being called out here to not necessarily take things for our first reaction, and to take a little second look or a deeper look at everything in our lives. Take a deeper look at the opportunities that are being offered to you. Take a deeper look at the limitations that you think that you've placed upon yourself that might not actually be there. They might just be in your head. And take a deeper look at the way that your habits and patterns in life have established who you think you are. Because again, we're coming back to that idea that the dragon is the awakening of our true self, of our true power. And I think the dragonfly is an opportunity to kind of take a step back and be like, cool, if this really huge thing is awakening within me, let's clearly define it. Let's make sure that it's defined from a powerful place and not a place of insecurity or need or lack. So if there are goals in your life that you're currently pursuing, ask yourself what your true intention on the goals are. Are they coming from a place of scarcity or fear, or feeling like if you get this goal, you're finally going to feel good enough? Or are they coming from a place of power where you already recognize that you're good enough and that you have everything that you need, and you can go out into the world and then you can just arrange the pieces to fit whatever your life's mission is? So some deepness going on in these cards, and the dragonfly may seem small, but it's a big thing in the long run to redefine your perspective and get rid of any illusions in your life so that you can see things clearly, but also hold on to a sense of magic, because there is that sort of sparkliness to the dragonfly. So to summarize these two cards from our bookends of the last Aquarius full moon to this Aquarius full moon, we have a deep awakening of our own power and confidence within us. If that was scary to you, the dragonfly is here to help you unlock the mysteries that are holding you back from that true power and get rid of the illusions that are keeping you from feeling like your authentic self. With that in mind, we're moving into a future energy of the lion. So I love this progression because the dragon does feel big and scary and a little hard to tame. And the dragonfly feels a little bit small, like we're kind of working with really tiny pieces for this full moon. It's not really big, grand gestures. But what's happening for working on those tiny pieces and getting rid of those old habits and patterns that were holding us back is we're unlocking something that feels like a big, manageable, earthly beast. It's not this otherworldly fantasy creature that's huge and larger than life. So we can come into the same place of confidence, but have it feel like it's more grounded on the earth. So the dragon is very much this ethereal type feeling of bigness and grandness, and we're not quite sure how everything's fitting together. But with the lion, we're bringing it back down to the earth because it's an earthly creature, but he's also the fire element. So there's a lot of passionate play. So by examining your true intentions with the dragonfly, and maybe even channeling some of that into some artistic expression with Gunlod. You are then coming into this place that you're not only feeling powerful and like sort of the ruler of the land, but you are also feeling passionate about where you're headed. And the beautiful thing about the lion energy is the dragonfly might be flitting around and kind of going from place to place and getting easily distracted, but the lion is focused and steady, almost to the point that he may not seem like he's doing much, but there's a lot of stuff going on underneath the surface. So I think use this dragonfly energy to your advantage when it comes to your internal work. Really let yourself kind of flit around and examine the things within you. But once this full moon energy is passed, allow yourself to come into this place where you don't feel like you have to do a lot to achieve a lot. So work smarter, not harder, I think is the phrase, and that's definitely this lion energy. And that's gonna come from this place of recognizing who you are, recognizing what you want to do in the world, and taking it one step at a time. So if all of this started to resonate with you, we're gonna dive into some tarot cards. My initial reaction is that this is going to be a reading for people that are in the process of creating some sort of big project or making themselves their big project. So if you're doing a lot of inner self work in regards to going to therapy or turning over old childhood wounds and getting rid of limiting beliefs, that's very in theme with these cards. Or if you have a huge creative project that you're trying to put out in the world that feels like this dragon energy that's just like too big to manage, and you're trying to cut it down to the lion energy, that also feels like what our reading is going to be about as well. So if those two things fit you and you want to move on with more for this tarot reading, you can join the Patreon over at patreon.com/Michelle Shea. Again, it is the full-time fortune teller level, but that $22 level gets you access to these extended readings, the full moon events, the tarot scopes that happen every month on the lower levels, weekly pick-a-card readings, audio mini podcast, and a monthly ritual. So you get all of the goodies available on my Patreon for just $22 a month, and you get this extended reading. So feel free to check that out. And if you're watching this on the Patreon, the rest of your reading starts right now.